Hey, rich girl.
Um, what's keeping the 49ers from winning the Super Bowl this year? If they don't make it, do you think that it could be them not getting that first round or that first seed and getting a bye week? Do you think that
Mm.
exhaustion could be it? Do you think that a mobile quarterback like Lamar Jackson, which we're going to see them go up against, this 49ers team looks so unstoppable right now. If you had to guess what's going to slow them down, knock on wood, not an injury, what's you let me know. Did I just say it? Was injury it?
No, no. You had a good point though. Like, yeah, would it be the 1C? Yeah, not having the 1C will definitely hurt because, like, I think statistically, what is it, like 80-90% of the time, like you get the first or just a bye, you're gonna make it to the Super Bowl. Especially the conference championship. But anyways, no, honestly, like what's gonna keep them from winning the Super Bowl this year is themselves. It's gonna be themselves. And I wrote yesterday about how that 3-game losing streak really helped them. And I think even me and you kind of talked about it a little bit. Like, I was like, who said this? Trent Williams or Fred Warner? And it turns out they both said something about like, oh, yeah, that 3-game losing streak really humbled us. And someone said we took our foot off the gas pedal. We kind of fell asleep a little bit. And honestly, you go back and watch those 3 games, it's like, they kind of did fall asleep. Part of that,
That
credits.
team doesn't even look like the same team that we saw
Exactly. It
yesterday.
looks like
It's
more effort.
crazy.
Like, you mean to tell me that team didn't – there's no way that team got up. And this is why I say, like, mentality and, like, getting yourself up for these games matters.
Huge for this.
Getting yourself up for the Vikings. Who the hell's going to get up for that game? For the Eagles? You don't need to say anything to these players. They're going to get up for that game. But for the Eagles, like, that's a little bit of a tough one. I mean, excuse me, the Vikings, that's going to be a tough one. So I kind of, even watching those games, it's like, damn, these guys are like, it's the execution. Like, what's really up with them? And now you look at these last 4 games, it's like, my God, they're like so formidable. Who the hell is stopping them? Oh, wait, there's themselves, because we just saw it themselves. Purdy throwing the picks, missed tackles, penalties. These guys calling the wrong stuff, like everything. And it literally took for almost everyone to have a failure in those 3-game losing streak for them to even lose in the first place. It took a bad game from Purdy against the Browns and a pick, and it took defense being very sloppy.
Missed field goal.
Missed field goals, inefficient running game, everything. And now they easily could survive if it's like 1 or 2 of those things. But what are the odds that all 4 levels, all 4 different aspects of the team that are very key are going to really derail them? I mean, it better not happen, and I don't think it will happen. That's why I think they're going to win out. I think they're going to go to the Super Bowl. I feel very confident they're going to go and probably even win it, because it's just like, dude, who the hell? That game really just showed everything. Like, wow, like, because the Eagles didn't play a poor game either.
Do you think it's going to be the Eagles and the 49ers in the championship game again?
For sure. Yeah. I think that was always the case in the first place, because even going in, it was like, it's literally the Eagles, the 49ers, then there's a gap, then it's the Cowboys, and now it's the Lions, and then at that point, who the hell cares about anyone else? Because
you don't think the addition of Shaq Leonard is going to just strike fear into the 49ers?
No, I think Shaq Leonard's going to strike fear into Eagles fans, and they're going to be cussing him out, asking, why is this bum on the field when he gets taken advantage of again? Like his other linebacker friends did on Sunday. So no, he's not. He's why it's just too many injuries. His surgeries have just already affected him. He's not the same caliber linebacker anymore. So no, he's not someone you're gonna be afraid about. And yeah, I think now the upper hand is on the 49ers easily. It's crazy. I just don't see who's gonna match up against. It's not the Lions, because Jared Goff's gonna cough it up against them. It's not the Cowboys, because come on. When's the last time the Cowboys won? In 2020, 2019?
Is it
whatever.
possible that the Cowboys game could be like a 2021? Is that the right year? The one where the 49ers beat the Rams all the way up until the playoffs?
Mm-hmm. No, but the Cowboys,
you don't see a possibility.
No, absolutely not. No, until it actually happens and the final score hits it, then I'll be like, okay, now they're capable. So, but no.
I think so too, and it's not even my lack of faith in Dak and in the Cowboys players. It's
my lack of faith in Dak.
Well, the way that they scheme against Micah Parsons is crazy. And they do this with the Rams too, with Aaron Donald. They take these players that are supposed to be like the most dominant players in football, and then they play against the 49ers. And I feel like as fans, we have like biased views of how, well these guys perform, because we watch them and I'm like, oh, like they're not even good. Like, why are other teams scared of them? I forget that the way that the 49ers are able to take these players out of the game, that's not what other teams are allowed to do.
That's why game planning and execution is everything.
I think when it comes to Cowboys, though, their Achilles heel is Mike McCarthy. There's going to have There's going to be some weird choke, some
Yep.
weird play call at the wrong time. You're right. I'm also not afraid of the Cowboys. While we're talking about, go
Think
ahead.
about it. Mike McCarthy, Dak Prescott, Brock Purdy, Kyle Shanahan. There's a fat gap between both of those pairs. We're comparing them.
Yeah. And do you think that Kyle Shanahan has shown some evolution? Do you feel
No.
any differently about him coming out of this Eagles game compared
Mm-mm.
to right before?
No, pretty much the same. I mean, in the beginning, it was a little weird game script. That's all I was like, dude, this guy literally tried to copy and paste what the Bills are doing. And that's what it kind of felt like. And I think he kind of believed in too much. Oh, we can pick on these guys. Let me just rush into it. When it's like, Kyle, you can't rush into their weakness because your style is we want to set you up throughout the game, not in the beginning. So I kind of felt like maybe he kind of rushed his game plans because that's why his first quarter was an F. And then second, third, fourth quarter was A+, A+, A+. And it was just, that's all she wrote from there.
I mean, I thought him making, like, if you look at it from a more macro perspective, I just thought that Kyle Shanahan making in-game adjustments was really pivotal because we've kind of seen him have a script and kind of stick to it, even if he's kind of banging his head against a wall. So I thought it showed maybe a little bit of growth to, like, in-game be like, oh, this is not working. I'm going to adjust on the fly.
I think that's
He's
changed
also
though
more
since
aggressive. We talked going into the game if he was going to be more aggressive, and he totally was.
Yeah, I think that's changed since Debo's been back though. But honestly, I think this is not so much he did adapt, but I think for sure like part of the game plan was we're going to try to get Debo involved and try to throw short because you don't want Purdy to sit there like a little, be a sitting duck against that vaunted pass rush. Like that's not wise. So good thing, luckily, like everything's kept coming out fairly quick and short.
I also think if Kyle had it his way, Debo would go off every game because he always tries to get Debo involved right
He loves
away.
Debo.
He loves Debo. He loves play calling for Debo. And two, I think Kyle Shanahan knows that his team is an emotional team and that they have these emotional highs. I think he's prepared. I think he's gonna try to hype them up for the Seahawks. I think he knows that they're prone to having an emotional letdown after such a high game. And I think he knows that they like to get amped up and they like to show out that they're kind of bullies, that they like to talk and they like to back it up. And I think he schemed and called a game plan for Debo, knowing that this was the type of game that Debo was going to bring his all in. And potentially if Debo wasn't showing success at that, he would have moved away from that. But I do think like going into the week, he was like, I bet Debo's going to want to back up his trash talk. You know what I mean? I think Kyle understands the like psyche level of his team being they're for how kind of bully physical they are. They're an emotional bunch, and I think Kyle Shanahan knows that. They've always been like that under the last, I want to say 3 years. I mean, they had the revenge game for the Super Bowl like 3 seasons in a row.
They have. Last week, I think you asked about who's going to be more pivotal in this game, Ayuk and Samuel, and I said Samuel for sure, at least initially to start off, because part of it was because the stage was set for him to go off, and also like he's the one that's going to help with the horizontal game to get these guys chasing, and everything needs to be short so you can get Purdy. So you don't want him to sit there and just get drilled by these guys. Come on, it's not like the 49ers have some amazing offensive line, so yeah, that all plays into it and just happens to align perfectly well. Whereas like, I know he wants to be motivated, and I also need him to this game. So, boom, perfect game for him to really like kick the door down on them.
I do want to ask you because I thought that it was very obvious that Debo was the MVP of last game. But after the game, James Bradbury came out and he talked about, like, a reporter asked him why they did so poorly. And I'm wondering, because Debo called him trash, was he just like unwilling to mention Debo Samuel? Because he didn't give any credit to Debo and he put it all on Christian McCaffrey. And he said that the offense revolves around Christian McCaffrey, that because they can't play man-to-man against Christian McCaffrey, that caused like a lot of problems for their game plan, and basically that the whole offense goes around him. Do you think that was like a slight at Debo or just like him trying to give honest insight? Because it kind of
he's being salty. He's being salty, and in doing so, he poo-pooed on his linebackers, saying he basically said we can't play man covers. Our linebackers freaking suck. That's incredible. No, he 1,000% was salty. 1,000%.
Okay, well, while we're talking about salty and emotions, I wanted to get